What's up, beautiful people? How are you today on this lovely weekend of February 9th, 2013? Now, I'd like to cover two subjects. First subject will be the pineal gland, and the second subject, I'm going to end it with a nice little story. I'll call it a story because there's no way to actually prove it unless you're actually there, but I'm doing this and I'm making this recording for a special friend. They know who they are, and this is for you. Our discussion, or our little brief discussion about parallel worlds, etc. Well, I've always been fascinated by out-of-body experiences and the possibilities of deep meditation and what you can achieve. Now, one of the things that I do know throughout my studies as a youth, I did discover some facts about monks. Monks teach their young, when they're training, that there are two worlds that exist. The world that I'm recording this in right now, and the world when you are sleeping, the dream world. Now, the fact about the pineal gland is that it absorbs more blood than any vessel in the body. It is one of the most idealistic, and I mean, when I say idealistic, I mean for the people that, thou shalt not worship false idols, idolatry. I mean, they have the pineal gland, the pine cone shaped structure. I mean, it's on the Pope's staff. There's the courtyard of the pine cone in the Vatican, which I cover briefly. I write about it basically on my Facebook. It just details things about the pine cone, and they call it a pine cone, but it's in the exact shape of the pineal gland. You can find the so-called pine cone in Egyptian engraved walls, even in the Muslim religion. It is all throughout history, this pine cone shaped structure. Why would anybody worship a pine cone? There's nothing throughout history and time that has been proven sacred about a pine tree. But let me tell you a revelation and epiphany that I had. Now, we all know Constantine was a pagan. He made the Roman Catholic Church 300 years after Christ walked this earth. And basically, he was losing power in Rome and throughout the world to the followers of the fish. Not the cross, not the crucifix, the fish. His sign was a fish. Now, some people, like me, speculate he chose this sign of a fish, meaning the sign of the Pisces, because when you study reincarnation and study astrology, it is believed that when you are reincarnated as the Pisces, it is your last lifetime here on this earth. You have done the cycle, but no one really says is if it's just for Pisces. But this is something that is known by the fish. So this would coincide with Christ coming, and basically, if he chose the fish, we all know December 25th was nowhere near his birthday. A simple fact is Mary and Joseph couldn't find a room where he was born in that town because it was harvest time. When is there ever a harvest time in December 24th in any part of the world? Never. So factually, that should tell you already that December 25th, the date that the Roman Catholic Church set to be his official birthday is a lie, along with many of their lies. So then when you get into Constantine, he was a Hindu pagan before he started the Church of Christianity. What he actually did is, so he wouldn't lose power. It was a complete power move. You can see it throughout history. He incorporated the teachings of the fish with pagan traditions because he didn't want to lose the fish and he didn't want to lose the pagans, and everybody would have been very upset that they couldn't do the December 24th, 5th ritual. The celebration of Easter, Astaris, which is the Greek goddess, Astaris. That's where Easter comes from. Do your research. Go on the internet. Look up the history of Easter, the orientations of Easter, the origins of Easter. Look how many things come up that talk about the Greek goddess Astaris. Now you get the rabbit in Easter because it is said if you look at the moon, the full moon, during the time of the solstice, that's the time of Easter, you can see the rabbit upside down. This has been a pagan tradition for a very, very, very long time. So then when you get into the pine cone, well, what do we have during Christmas? What's the most chopped down tree in the world, and especially during this time? The pine tree. So then when you have the court of the pine cone in the Roman Catholic Church, well, let me explain to you something about the pine tree and Samhain. Well, Samhain and the pine tree, the ritual of the pine tree doesn't have anything to do with a pine cone. Number one, the pine tree is pyramid in shape, the sign of the Illuminati and their all-seeing eye, the one eye, which is the third eye, the pineal gland. Then you understand the pine tree, and it's a pyramid. This pyramid tree that's worshipped every year, and they say it's in his name, it's his birthday. Well, I believe he was born in Pisces. I mean, it would make more sense. And you can actually look up on the internet. There's a lot of scholars that actually prove that he was born no time in December 25th. In the Orthodox religion, even the priests tell you this is not his birthday, but they celebrate it anyway to give thanks to him. Ask any Orthodox priest, and he'll tell you the truth. No, December 25th is not his birthday. I remember the Orthodox priest that I was actually studying with in Romania told me this when we got into a deep discussion about the Orthodox religion and why the Orthodox people have been prosecuted for so long and why they made changes in their church to avoid prosecution by the Roman Catholic Church and the Jesuits, which crucified them many a times and did many things to them. I'm not going to get into what Rome did to the Orthodox religion. So then you really start to understand when you do research and you come across Samhain in the Christmas tree. Do you know where we get the tradition of presents from? It's not St. Nicholas, it's a lie. The so-called saint that went around giving toys to kids, that's bullshit. That's a nice little story so you won't really come upon Samhain. Samhain was a man that was in love with his brother's wife on Christmas, December 24th, or the eve of Christmas. He snuck into his brother's home, killed his brother's whole family, chopped off all their heads, and put all the heads in boxes under the Christmas tree. Now you will see this throughout movies like Seven, There was another episode, gosh, what was the name of that show where the guy, I think it was Run or called Escape or something, where the guy gets locked up in prison and the whole episode is about him, escaping from prison and his brother. The head in the box. See, the Illuminati knows this, but the general public doesn't, because most people don't like to study. So when Sam Haines' brother's family came to find the family, they find a beautiful pine tree all decorated. When they came looking for the family, because no one heard from them, they found the boxes under the Christmas tree. And then under the Christmas tree, under the pine tree, they found the heads of all the family in the boxes. So this is where the tradition of Christmas comes from, and giving the gift and in the box, and you don't know what it is, and when you open it, you're all surprised, and you're preserving this wicked tradition that the Illuminati, the Freemasons, the 13 bloodlines, they actually know. And they bury it into your psyche through conditioning, through programming, through TV, through television, through music. This is what they've done to create a thing that we call the holographic universe. If you would like to see a documentary or read a book more about this, there's a wonderful book called The Hamburger Universe. So now you understand the truth about Christmas and why I've never celebrated it. And then when you get into the pineal gland, well, this gland absorbs more blood than any vessel in the body. And it is activated when you sleep. When you go to sleep, when your body is in darkness, when you close your eyes, there's no light coming in, your pineal gland is automatically activated. Why is this? Your pineal gland has the same optical material inside as your eyes. The pineal gland is hooked up directly to your eyes. This is scientifically proven. So then, let's study programming and brainwashing. So, what if throughout history, these secret societies have known, and it's pretty clear that the Roman Catholic Church knew something about the power of the pineal gland? Well, let me tell you something else. So do the corporations. Why do you think they put fluoride in our tap water? Why do you think they put fluoride in the toothpaste? Why do you think they put flour in just about everything that we consume? Because flour causes calcification of the pineal gland. When you over-calcify and over-toxify your body, you over-toxify the pineal gland, and basically it doesn't work properly. You shut it down. So why do all these corporations spend all this money on fluoride, on putting flour in products that don't need it, putting toxins that directly affect the pineal gland from keeping your third eye closed, and then pumping you with subliminal suggestions through music, through TV, through everything that you do? And then when you get into projects like Project Phoenix, and when you get into silent weapons, and when you get into microwave technology and secret microwave silent programming, these silent weapons where they can beam into your subconscious silently through your cell phone, through your wireless network, through anything that operates on unseen radio frequencies. If they know your brain frequency, your CAT scan, your alpha wave, the direct frequency of your mind and body, they can beam subliminal messages directly into your subconscious, into your third eye, without you even being aware of it, because you've never even given a second thought about your third eye. But then on the dollar, you see your third eye, the all-seeing eye of the pyramid. You see Illuminati symbolism everywhere around the world. You see Freemason temples all around the world. That is so-called the all-seeing eye of God. They claim to be God. But what if this eye is your direct connection to seeing the works of God and unleashing you from the chains that these slave traders, that these Freemasons have bound around your body, your mouth, and your third eye for generations? Your third eye is your all-seeing eye. It helps you to see when your eyes are closed. Now, I was recently watching a documentary called The Investigation. I forget. But it's the investigation of the hemisphere or biosphere, or I forget the name, it evades me. But he points out a very specific fact that I found interesting about hypnotists, and it's very alarming. Now, he tells the story of a hypnotist that hypnotizes a man, and the hypnotist tells the man that he's not going to see him for 30 minutes when he awakens. He will not be able to see the hypnotist. Now, the hypnotist walks around the man, does everything, the crowd is laughing, and the man freaks out because the hypnotist lights a cigarette and is blowing smoke in the guy's face, and all the guy sees is a cigarette floating in front of him with smoke coming towards him, and freaks out, and the crowd calms him down. And then after 30 minutes, the crowd is watching, then he can see the hypnotist. Then another instance that David Wilcox, because that's who did this video, he tells the story about the hypnotist hypnotizing another man, and tells the man that he will not be able to see his daughter until the hypnotist says he can see his daughter. So the man's hypnotized on stage. His daughter's asked to come up. He doesn't see his daughter. Now the hypnotist holds up a picture behind his daughter. Okay? And the daughter is standing between the man and the hypnotist. And he squints to see the picture, but he describes it perfectly. I was blown away when he told me this story, because what does this tell you? Basically, if we are hypnotized to believe in something that we believe is solid, that we believe is real, that we believe is not there, that we believe that we will not see, even if it's right in front of us, we can't see it. This is the power of hypnosis. The Nazis studied this power in Project Phoenix, Project Montauk, where they figured out how to put young boys under subliminal suggestion by inducing prolonged orgasms through some kind of anal act. And if you're doctors, I'm sure you can understand this act, and making an orgasm last for per se 20 minutes. And hey, we all know when you have an orgasm, you lose control. You're open to anything. So the scary thing is, if you're in a science lab and they're doing this to you, but for 20 minutes, and then inducing subliminal suggestions into you, and then telling you you won't remember this, You won't see this. You won't have any recollection of this. But you will do this, this, and this. You will kill this person at this time. When you hear this, you will do this. And then when you're finished, you won't remember a thing. The third eye is this powerful. It has the power to create things and to give us the belief in things that aren't even there, that aren't even real. So what you should ask yourself is, what is reality? What is real? What is fake? What is fake? What is real? What do these two words even mean by definition? If by definition, since the day we came out of our mother's womb, we didn't even understand, because they were taught to us by the very same people who control us, who control our third eye through subliminal omissions in everything that we do. They taught us these definitions. They taught us these lies. From the day we went to school, the same with our parents, taught us to believe in these lies because they believed these lies were truth. Now, when you start to understand the concept of reality, I'll bring you back to the monks and Eastern teachings and Nazism. Because the Nazis, they studied the Hindus. They studied the monks. Nazism was built from writings of the Bhagavad Gita with the blue-skinned gods. The gods with the blue skin, blonde hair, blue eyes. This is where they get their so-called superior race from. They're all lies. I mean, it's from the Bhagavad Gita. When they said the gods came down and mated with the humans. Another turned out story of the Nephilim and the angels and the war in heaven, and how some angels wanted to come down and have sex with the beautiful earth women and then had offspring, and they were called the Nephilim, the giants. And the giants brought to earth war and pestilence and taught humanity about war and how to make weapons. These were the Nephilims, the half angels, the half beings from space, heaven, whatever, up there, mixed with human DNA. This is the biblical story. Same story in the Bhagavad Gita, just turned around a little bit. These stories are throughout humanity in different generations, same times, but in different religions. And the Nazis started to really study this. And the 13 bloodlines claim to be the descendants of Cain, claim to be the descendants of the Nephilim bloodline. Now, if you study the Nephilim, who was the head of the Nephilim? Lucifer. He was the first angel to question God, and he was thrown out of heaven, thrown out of space, thrown out of up there, and cast down to earth. And then he brought the ones with him that wanted to follow him, which these were the fallen. Then the fallen took up with the earth women and spread their evil seed among earth, and then the earth knew pestilence and war. Again, we were in Eden. And in this story, it doesn't say anything about Adam and Eve. It says the war and pestilence started because of the Nephilim, the outcast. So then when you get into biblical stories and understanding the power of the third eye and what we're able to do, you can't imagine what we're able to do. You can't even comprehend the power that they keep closed because they fear us. They fear us because what happens when we're able to use more than 6% of our brain capacity? When we're able to create things with a thought, to destroy things with a thought, to make whatever we need whatever we think is possible with a thought. This is the dream world. But what happens when the dream world, the parallel universe, the parallel world, and the reality as we know it become one? This is what happens with the pineal gland. This is what happens with out-of-body experiences. When you leave your body and you can see your body here, but you can still see this reality, but you can float, you can fly. What if we are a race of super beings? What if we can actually fly like Superman? What if this is our heritage? What if we are the so-called destroyed Kryptonian planet? What if that story was told to us directly to keep us believing there can be only one, when there are trillions? What would this mean for the universe? What would this mean for the forces that fear us, that spend trillions of dollars a year to poison us, to keep us from who we are? So that is a little thoughts, a little brain food to get your mind and your third eye stimulated. Stop eating meat. It's all toxified. It's one of the major things that they poison to keep your third eye closed. Stop eating things with flour. Stop eating things with powdered milk, processed milk products, things that keep your third eye closed. Because the story I'm about to tell you, you're not going to believe, but this is for my wonderful friend that's helping me and that's given me a big push to become a writer. I'm going to call this a nice little story, okay? Here goes. Here's a nice little story of a DJ that went to Romania, fell in love. His girlfriend was taken by the female cartel because they had been studying him and stalking him because of his ability to punch through the parallel worlds. He's had this ability since he was very young, and they have done everything from medication to locking him up to controlling his own family members, through brainwashing, through death, through many different forms of replacements. He's been the continued study of Project Phoenix and silent weapons. So when he went over to Romania, because his handler, his government Marine Black Ops stepbrother, who actually married into his family with his stepfather, became his controller. When his stepbrother actually killed someone famous, a singer, a rapper, when he started to go public about it, they tried to kill him. This DJ, this, I'll call him black man, this black man. So then this black man lived on the streets for 2 years, homeless, left everything he knew, friends, family, anything he held of value because of a Buddhist teaching that he had heard. In order to actually let go of the ego, you must be willing to let go of everything you care for, everything you put worth to. When he read this made a lot of sense. On many nights when he was sleeping on the streets, in the bushes, in the street corners, getting fucked with by stupid drunk assholes coming from bars, spitting on him, throwing their drinks on him, telling him get a job, get a life. This is what people do to homeless people. He was one of these homeless people. He really started to understand and see humanity at its true beastly nature. So then he got a job working in the mountains. This is when the government came for him again. He got a job in Mendocino. Anybody know about the Indo from Mendocino? He got a job growing ganja because it's legal in Mendocino, California if you have a prescription. So little do you know, the government grows like 30-40% of the legal ganja. He got a job doing this. Saved up money. Got enough money to go to Romania. But before he did this, he learned that he was working with some government Siths. He blew their cover. These were the same government people that he used to live next door to when he was about 12, 13 in Atascocita, Humble. It's a very exclusive neighborhood in Humble. Even George Lucas lived up the street at this time when he was writing the Star Wars script. He lived next door to a man named Abba. Anybody know Abba in Hollywood? His daughter Jade, son Bijou. Anyways, these mafioso, trilateral, Jewish people are very powerful in Hollywood and very well known. So he had to get out from under them again because he knew what they had been doing with their Sith, Jamal Kennard. Jamal Kennard was a government agent that became friends with black men when he lived in San Francisco prior to him becoming homeless a few years before. Jamal Kennard was a government assassin. He made a living from poisoning people. One night, when he decided to make some hydro weed toast, that is scrapings from hydro weed and put in butter and then put on toast. Well, he ate 5 pieces of toast and he couldn't handle it. So black man spent, say, about 5 hours listening to a government agent spill his guts about how they perfected poisons to kill people right down to the second. Cancerous poisons, syphilis poisons, whatever they want to give you. They got it cooked up. He just puts it in the food and he enjoys cooking people their last meal because he's the best cook. It's the best food. It's just one of the things around the family that he was known for. He said he loves cooking people their last healthy meal because he wants it to be the best. He's the best. So after I blew his cover that who he was and how he impregnated Jade and gave her some kind of special baby, and I will say special baby because Jamal Kennard was injected with something to affect his DNA. So when he impregnated Jade, Jade's baby grew exponentially quickly, I will say. And when they started to discover what they were part of and what the government did, and I helped blow the cover of Jamal Kennard and who he was because he actually went into Abba's family to do this to Jade so the government could put a hand back into Abba's family. I thought Jamal was actually put there to kill him, but I guess if he was, maybe he's dead now, who knows. But after this incident, after I blew the cover off everything, because I have a knack for doing this, they put me on the streets homeless, but not before the cops, after a few weeks of being homeless, came down, picked me up, and beat the shit out of me, and tried to keep me in jail. Because of because of black man's severe knowledge, he was able to talk his way out of jail and basically get out of Mendocino and go to Romania. In Romania, after living there a few years, he falls in love. His girlfriend comes up missing. So then he spends 3 years in Romania searching for her, battling the female cartel that's Nika Gadu, owner of Fashion TV, Space Music, trying to find out what happened to her, because this is a common thing that happens to women all the time in Romania, Hungary, Ukraine, Russia. Most beautiful women. But it's the cartel. Female cartel. Slave trade. We like to pay good money for beautiful, punani. So I lived in Romania for 8 years. 3 of those years were spent with government agents. I will tell you, they sent an 007 after me, but after he realized what I was and what I did and what I knew, and after me showing him where brothels were, where the gypsies held women in underground basements, where they have 5-star restaurants above, after I really blew the lid off the female cartel, and he sent back to the Queen and MI6, MI5 what he had learned, and that he wanted to engage, they told him to stand down and return home. This 007, which I will call him by the name of Mark Hazard, became a rogue. So then the gypsies, the female cartel, became very afraid of this black man, because they didn't understand if it was me or Mark Hazard that was taking down their facilities. Actually, it was both of us. So then, black man is working at a 5-star resort called the Radisson as a DJ. He's DJing for the Freemason Canadians, for the Freemason Lodge, and their private dinners that they hold at the Radisson. Even presidential officials and all the government officials of Romania are starting to talk about him and his music and his skills and his combination to play Sade, but do nice little light scratches over it, and to play jazz tunes that they never heard, but to softly scratch over it. Not too much to disturb, but just enough to show you that he has skills. And they never experienced anything like this. All the fashion models were coming in to the Radisson, because Fashion TV was holding all of their organization events there. All the big soccer players coming to play the Romanian team all stayed there. Black man was getting too well known in Romania by all of these people DJing at the Radisson, because no one had ever seen or heard a DJ like this. A lounge DJ, turntablist, playing all of this soft music but scratching and doing tricks, but with lounge music. Oh, no one had ever seen anything like this black man. So, the Rothschilds, the Illuminati, the Freemasons had to shut this down. One day in the summer, when black man's playing by the pool, a family of 5 redheads come. 4 of them are swimming in the pool with Egyptian tattoos on the father, with English accents, and then this man comes over, gives black man's Freemason boss of the Radisson, because he is a Freemason German Jew from Germany, gives him the Freemason handshake right in front of the DJ booth. Black man had never really seen the Freemason handshake like face to face. So basically, this was the sign that the Freemasons said, we're going to shut him down in Romania. So they did just this. The best DJ in Romania couldn't find a job anywhere. Lost his home. Lived in the snow. Thought he was going to die. But he proved that even in Romania, these cold temperatures, but no place to go, with no Romanian wanting to help him because everyone knew what he had gotten into and what he had been doing. They were afraid to even open the door. Some friends would, give him food sometimes during the day and give him money to buy food, but as of a place to sleep, no one could get involved that deep. So Black Man, during this time, he had a camera and he spends his time recording exposés in front of the female cartels' businesses and puts them up on YouTube. You can see these stories at Zakaos Breedlove Ewing's YouTube. They're there. These times were recorded when Black Man was homeless in Romania. Some of them may sound a bit far-fetched, like I'm tired, like I'm a bit out there, but trust me, it's real. But hey, this is just a story, right? It didn't happen. So then, Black Man gets picked up by the police one day because one of his friends had given him some help, so to say, and he was picked up, and then he was deported. Before he was deported, he had a chance to brief the Romanian custom officers about who he was and what he did, and they got very educated. And they became very proud of him and treated him like royalty when he was locked up. They started to call him Mr. This, Mr. This. They started to call him, I forget the name in Romanian, but the English term is bandit. There's an old Romanian folklore about the bandits. I'll tell you the story. There were 3 men. All didn't have family. 2 of them, their families had been killed, 1 an orphan. And they decided to take the law into their own hands. They started killing police. They started killing gypsies. They started killing mafia. Anybody that had anything to do with criminal exportation of the female cartel and brothels and prostitution. Killed them all. So this really scared the mafia, because if you know the Romanian mafia, Russian mafia, the Ukrainian mafia, they are the police. They are the gypsies. They are the men who have these beautiful daughters, the Romanian men that will sell their daughters to the female cartel for money. It's what they do in the Ukraine, Eastern Europe. These men, they actually sell their beautiful daughters. So don't think, it's just the gypsies. Don't think it's just the mafia. Don't think it's just the cartel. I mean, this is inbred in the Romanians' men's minds that they can actually get money for their beautiful daughters. And then there are these men that get together and drive around and look for beautiful women to grab off the street, to rape them all night, and then to go sell them in brothels. This is not a story. This is the slave trade today. The Ukraine, Romania, Russia, Bulgaria. This is going on right now. So Black Man was supposed to be deported back to his home country, America. But the customs looked into his background, found out his stepbrother, his Marine brother, his sheriff brother, his Black Ops brother was dirty as shit. Found out that he had government sealed records that were just, they couldn't even explain it. The only people that have something like this are government agents. Everything was blacked out. I was told this by a Romanian Russian customs officer that was head of all Romanian customs. His specific job was going and taking people back to their country. So he's seen everything, but he had never seen anything like this when they checked into black man's background. So black man convinced a friend to help him purchase a ticket to France because he was told his girlfriend was taken to France and he knew the Rothschilds owned France and he didn't fear them. And he knew the 007 rogue would come to France. So he became homeless in France. He lived homeless in France, did a lot of research in France, spent a lot of time in the Bastille. Now, let me tell you something about the Bastille. The Bastille is one of the most guarded places in France. You have the Republican Guard right up the street. During the time of the Bastille, the fort, the Bastille was heavily guarded because it housed all the treasure of France. And then during the French Revolution, when it was turned into a prison. But one of the things they don't talk about is the keep of the Bastille. Now everybody knows when you build a fort, you build a keep. That's where you keep all the gold. So even if you get attacked, even if the country is taken over, you can't get into the keep. It's fortified. Some keeps are even known to have moats surrounded and all kinds of crazy Tomb Raider stuff. Now, I would like to bring your attention to the people that built this keep, because then it'll give you, a picture of how magnificent it is, or it's just a story how magnificent it could be. Now, the French, from black man's discovery, is that the French are descendants of Olmecs, Nubian Moors, because black men spent some time digging in the Bastille and unearthed pyramid stones. And I mean pyramid stones, these were arrowheads, but these were arrowheads, some arrowheads the shape of looking like they were made to hunt dinosaurs. These arrowheads were huge. And some small, really small for hunting fish. These arrowheads are priceless. I know for an American Indian arrowhead, you get like $800, $1,000, sometimes $2,000 for one. But in France, black men dug up thousands and thousands of them because he had the time to do it. All around the Bastille. Now the history of the Bastille goes like this. Because black men spent a lot of time in the Bastille and displaying these rocks, and many French scientists came up to him. French teachers made class trips because they heard about what this homeless person was doing. So black man had a chance to talk to many scientists, many educated French about the Bastille. Before the Bastille was built, it used to be a fishing village right on the shores, right in the center of Paris. Many fishermen would travel right through Paris, traveling all throughout the world. These were Nubians, first world travelers. So this is why the sovereign French have curly hair, light eyes, and dark skin, and they're short. This is customary of Aboriginal people. This is why these sort of French are the most prosecuted in France. Prosecuted by who? The Nazis, the Rothschilds, the Freemasons. Hitler, Rothschild, and his descendants came into France and raped it, pillaged it, and even today the Rothschilds own more of France than any Frenchman. Why? Because if the facts came out that this land was sovereign land, Nubian Moor land, then the only right to own this land and to purchase this land And the only people they could actually sell this land to would be sovereign French. And the only people that could sell this land legally would be sovereign French. This would be a huge, huge, huge problem for the Nazi government. Because those sovereign French now in France are some of the most beautiful, poorest people in all of France. So during black man's excavation, personal excavation of the Bastille, he would sleep in the subway. Let me tell you about the subway. Now, in Paris, we know that the Bastille, the keep, still exists. Bastille, the fort's keep. But what most people don't know is during Hitler's administration, the keep was turned into a bomb-proof shelter. And then today, it became a French secret base controlled by French intelligence. Well, black man is a little bit nosy and liked to do some snooping and learn that there was a Stargate in this base. Learn when they turned on the Stargate in this base and did some snooping into the base that is accessible through the Bastille subway. They actually bring things into the base through the subway through special trains that run at night, because you can see these trains going through the subway when you're in the subway, when you're supposedly sleeping, when the subway's closed down. So what if black man just jumped on one of these trains when they were going by to see where they went? So then black man learns about there is a Stargate, goes off-world, learns that he has specific abilities and able to do things that not even the French legionnaires can do. So he's caught, but then everything is learned about what he was doing in off-world and how he got there and how he was able to go through the gate undetected. They'd never seen anything like this. So then black man started to be trained by legionnaires secretly, at the same time being homeless, meeting legionnaires, pretending to be homeless, but just coming in sometimes to give him money and things that he needed. Sometimes notes, sometimes things, be here, do this, we need you here. Traveling off-world, and then when the Rothschilds learned about this, black man got locked down on an off-world. They tried to have him never to be seen or heard from ever again. But black man, with his powers of his pineal gland and the detoxification of his pineal gland, he was able to walk back to earth without the use of a gate. This scared the shit out of the Rothschilds. This scared the shit out of everybody. So rather than try to explain this phenomenon, what do Nazis do when they can't understand something? Well, what they wanted to do is kill and experiment. So black man was attacked, left for dead, wakes up in the hospital, in surgery, and the doctor tells him where he is, what happened. He's working on his arm because it was broken, working on several other things, and I was awake during this surgery. I could feel everything, but it didn't hurt. And the doctor said I was talking about medical terms, medical conditions, all of these things that blew his mind. And after the surgery, he asked, who the hell was I? How do I know all these things? Or excuse me, how does black man know all these things? So after the surgery, 10 days after, black man is homeless again. The worst pain of his life. He truly learns what pain is. He truly learns what suffering is. He truly learns what survival is. Because it's Paris and it's wintertime. And he has a cast on. Head trauma. Back trauma. All kinds of trauma. It's traumatic. But he makes the Legionnaires proud. They can't believe it. They said he's just about ready. So, to make a long story short, I guess that what the Nazis had planned to do is kill black man, experiment on him, run tests to figure out how he got back. Because they had never seen anything like this. So they arranged for him to be sent back home to his hometown of Texas. He had many problems. He tried to reveal about the government agents and his brother and being gang stalked and being continuously watched. His computer continuously hacked. Things in his home, things about his family that just didn't add up. Things that he knew about Stalin and the Nazis. Things that they did, they'd go in and kill the whole family. And then the way they erase whole entire families is they replace specific members and have them as agents. And then program them to kill other members. And then all of a sudden those family members start dropping off. And then maybe they, brainwashed or programmed a specific family member, or replace them, or have them under hypnotic suggestion, who knows, to do this, this, and this, and to forget it. The possibilities are endless when you're dealing with motherfuckers who have mastered mind control and controlling the pineal gland, that's seeing without seeing. Seeing what is not there, seeing what is there, telling you what you see, telling you what you can't see, telling you what you can do, how far you can do it. Creating your limits when you actually have none. So now black man sits in Houston, Texas, continuously gang stalked and watched under the highest government disclosure. Because when the police ran his ID, none of the stuff came up about, agent classification, anything blacked out. They just got bullshit because of his stepbrother, G. Puts all that bullshit in the cop's computer because he's a Marine, Black Ops, Sheriff. He can do that with a keystroke. It's easy as that. So I go from having all this blacked out government classification in Romania to having nothing on my police file. Pretty amazing. This is a story, right? Didn't happen, right? Well, let's see what happens when I upload this video. Never forget, there are things in the world that you're not ready to understand. If you think the Stargate is bullshit, well, it's pretty easy if they lock somebody up like me and I try to tell a doctor what I've been through or what I've seen, and then she just writes down on her paper, oh, he's schizophrenic, he's been watching TV, saw Stargate and thinks he's part of it. I don't think I'm part of anything. I know what I've seen. I know aliens do exist. I've seen them since I was a kid. There's good ones and there's bad ones. I took out the bad ones in Paris. They were fucking slicing through butter. Never seen anything like me. So then when you get into how much they've done to put these microbiotic control mechanisms into my food, my water, my anything I drink, any place I go, how much they've spent to keep me with no money. I have to have another surgery because I have shit drilled into my bones, holding my other bones together. I can't even get Social Security because I keep getting denied. But then when I try to talk about this stuff, they lock me up in a government facilities and inject me with new shit and basically telling me to shut the fuck up. But then when it comes to Social Security and filing for this and that I need a surgery to do this so I can get the fuck out of this place, and so if I need to be homeless again and just leave and walk, I can't do this with this arm, and they know this. So they deny me fucking Social Security, which would pay for a surgery. It's been fucking 9 months. They locked me up in a police station. They tried to lock me away in a mental facility 3 times. But each time after I talk to the fucking doctor, the doctor can't believe how much I know and how brilliant I am. And when I tell the doctor this is all a fucking business, I know they're paying you. I know what you do. I know who the fuck you are. I'm not scared of you. I'll be out of here in a few days. You can inject me with whatever you want. I have a strong mind. And so here I am again, back at my home, recording this, explaining what the public should know. But hey, they spend billions of dollars just on me to keep me from speaking, to keep me from telling stories. Because they don't want you to know there's an 007 rogue. They don't want you to know how many rogues I created in the French Foreign Legion and throughout the European government. Just from the things that I did and the things that I said and I was exposing. Because I did not fear them. My faith is all powerful. So here I wait, here I sit for my ship to come in so I can leave this bullshit of experimentation where I got my fucking neighbors, both sides, all around me that are getting paid to watch me, to give this lady acting like whoever she is little notes when she comes in the house, waiting for her when she gets home. The cop directly, at the end of my block, getting home the exact same time this lady in my house gets home. I don't believe in coincidences. They operate on time. They have everything down to a science. That's their fucking problem. They have it too scientific. Once you understand it, you can see it. Everything's about time for them. Everything's about timing. Because they have all of these mechanisms and all of these biomechanical bullshit that they're putting in your food through Monsanto's and putting in your water and putting into everything you put in your body. It's all on timing mechanisms. When you sleep at around 2:30, 3 o'clock, your cell phone emits a specific frequency. Because this is the time when most people are deep in REM sleep. This is, again, on a timing mechanism. They do this from the fucking Ukraine to the United States, because I learned this because one of my friends worked at the company that did this to Romania, and she told me when they got their new servers, so they could start extracting information and keeping it. She said she had never seen a room this huge and servers this huge. It was fucking scary. So anyway, take it as you want. I'm going to turn it into a nice story. If you want to read more about black man, go to Zakaos, Zakaos, Breedlove Ewing. There are plenty of stories written called X-formers. These stories were actually written based on what was actually happening at the time to help me keep track, because the things that were happening to me when I was homeless, and I was going to the Apple store weekly, sometimes daily, writing down these things in a form of stories. Because the public doesn't want to believe Stargate, but then maybe somebody that was actually part of Stargate wrote some stories and it evolved into the TV show. Maybe somebody that, knew someone like James Bond and that knew of his escapades started writing stories about what he did, and it evolved into the franchise that we know today. Maybe somebody like the Bourne Conspiracy. There was a real Jason Bourne that started writing books under a shadow name, and we have the Bourne Identity franchise. Never forget, there's truth in every story. You just have to find what that truth is, just like the Bible. There's truth in the Bible, but there's so much that has been changed by the hands of man. I will leave you with this. The old Pope, that's before the pedophile one that just retired, went around and spoke about Generation X. He said what he was speaking about was from the unpublished pages of Revelations that was in scrolls in the Vatican Vault. These scrolls can only be viewed by 8 specific high priests, and if you were to view these scrolls, it is punishable by death. He spoke of Generation X. He didn't call them Generation X. I do. This is why I have X-formers, to inform Generation X. It's where the name comes from, not from Transformers. And actually, X-formers was designed to transform the world, transform the mind by informative stuff from the X. Me, the X generation. The Pope speaks of the children of the light, speaks of how my generation is supposed to change the face of the earth more so than any other generation before us. Now, why does he specifically talk about my generation? I specifically believe my generation because the generation coming up now, the toxicity, the vaccines, all the stuff that they've been exposed to, I'm going to be honest, these young people are fucking stupid. I mean, the music that they listen to, I look at them, I see the things that they're doing, it is fucking mind-blowing. I remember when I was growing up, me and my friends would go to coffee shops and have deep conversations, walking away from 2, 3, 4 hour coffee shop conversations where people sitting next to us would just sit there and drink their coffee and listen and sometimes join in. This is how me and my friends grew up. But nowadays, I mean, the generation growing up, I mean, they just fucking dumbified them, dumbed them down through vaccines, through medication, through toxification of food. It is very apparent. So then when you get into the children of the light, that's us, the enlightened ones, that come to earth and that form an organization that is going to sweep through the world like a force of light, like a force of God that you have never seen on the face of this earth forever. We will be unstoppable, incomprehensible. All truth will be seen through our eyes. For there will be no question that we not know the answer to. For all lies will be shown like the open book of the universe. Remember, Christ said he does nothing in secret. For the ones that operate in secret, for all those government agents that do and spend billions and trillions of dollars on government secrets because information is power. Well, what happens when the ultimate power becomes us? And you are nothing. Those that follow his word to the doctrine shall become more than he. Even he said this. So, by doctrine, by scientific law, what should this tell you about all the priests, all the popes, all the prophets, all the holy men walking the earth? They didn't do 95% of what Christ did. They still didn't. They still haven't. So, that should tell you you're not following his teachings, because no one has done even 95% of what he did. And this is scientifically speaking. If they did, trust me, there would be a modern day movement after him or her. So look at it for what it is and see it for what it is. You don't need a pope or a priest or some kind of prophet to get to God. God is in you. God blessed you with everything. God made you with everything you need to know to become closer to God, to become closer to that divinity, because we are all divine. So for the ones that operate in secret, their time is done. I'm recording this video to give a specific person a little bit of faith and to help other people understand me and what is possible, and all my so-called bullshit friends in Houston that talk so much shit I ain't seen once, that ain't booked me once, that knows what fucking DJ can touch me, what drum and bass DJ ever could touch me. And for all those motherfuckers that took money and did all this and this to stay away from me or talk shit, fuck you. Your time's coming. God knows what you did. Each and every one of you. I remain true. I know who I am. I know what I got. I know what I can do. I know what I've done. And so do plenty of other people. Never bow down to evil. And for the ones that did, they're going to get the heads chopped off, so to speak. Or maybe, really, who knows? Because what happens when the dream world and this reality become one? Peace.